Alright, so this video is about black people and how they're actually superior, not just physically and all this and genetically and all that stuff, but actually they're the chosen people, the chosen people, the chosen people.
Welcome back to the House of Healing. This is a short lesson about who the Bible says are the chosen people from Master Teacher Yahuda YizReal. Check it out.
Now, what I'm doing, y'all, I'm breaking down John 3:16. I'm not just reading a verse and creating my own story out of it. This is what you call breaking down John 3:16, precept upon precept. So I'm in the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, and I'm going to start at chapter 45, verse 17. And it says this: But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. How long is everlasting? It's everlasting.
Journal.
You shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. Cosmos means world, which means age, group, or society of people. The children of Israel was freed from the Egyptians by Moses. And there you go. Israel means prince of the power with God. I'm still not done with John 3:16. I'm going right back to the verse. So for God so loved, love means to keep the commandments, right? Commandments were given to the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses. World means cosmos, which means age, group, or society of people. We proved that the world was talking about was a world of Israel. You got the sea world, you got the Pornhub world, you got the Animal Planet world. The world is referring to was the world of Israel. That he gave his only begotten son. Who did he give his only begotten son to? Remember we read in Acts 5:30? Gave repentance to the children of Israel, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. When it says whosoever believeth him should not perish but have everlasting life, what do you think that's talking about?
The Israelites.
Okay, so it says, this is Acts 2:21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. You, men of Israel, hear these words. So who is it referring to?
Everyone.
So I'm going to read this again. And it shall come to pass, this means the future, that whosoever shall is a future tense word. It's not a past tense. Shall means the future. Whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Let's keep reading. Let's not get too excited. You, men of Israel, hear these words. So who is it referring to?
The men of Israel.
Well, Israel's spirit, so it would be men of spirit.
What does the word Israel mean in Hebrew?
It means the Trinity. It means self. It's within. It's the spirit.
Give not the words in the Bible the meanings that you want them to have, lest you be corrected in the house of healing. Check it out.
Israel means prince of the power with God. Did you know that?
Right. So if you're connected to spirit, you're connected to God.
How can you be connected to the spirit according to the Bible?
If you believe in it and say his name, I guess that's what he just said there. That's one way.
Can you ask me the same question I asked you?
How?
Romans chapter 7, verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual. In order to be spiritual, you have to be doing something. This right here. Who were the laws given to Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses?
The Israelite. The Hebrews.
So what am I trying to say? I'm gonna show you what I'm trying to say, and I'm gonna say this in a way that it's gonna make sense. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let them say it.
The Pasagidians as retaining the Old Testament rules of circumcision, kosher foods, and Jewish holidays. In other words, they observe the law of Moses, accept and respect to sacrifices, and thus were given the name circumcision. There's another name that we got for these people. So it's all over history because of the arrogancy of the Catholic Church to preserve these records. And I thank y'all for it. Because now you have these self-prescribed scholars and teachers like Vocab Malone that don't know anything about historical documentation concerning the commandment keepers.
Specifically, the people that are living in America, and specifically the people who have been sent all over the earth on slave ships, those people are superior, even in the Most High's eyes himself, because those people are the Israelites.
What's your thoughts on what he's just said?
Yeah, Deuteronomy pretty well states the black people are the Israelites.
But how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel that these so-called black people need justice, some kind of justice for them? Talk to me. How does it make you feel?
Dude, I don't like it. What I don't like is this divide. This divide, man.
We're all God's children.
I don't see the color,
God
man,
doesn't
and
love
if I
anyone more
I
than
don't
anyone
know,
else.
I learned young.
Now question. Did God divide in the Bible?
No.
I
Oh,
want to read this
Did
to you.
humans,
Deuteronomy
humans
32, verse
divide.
8. It says this.
Oh, they
Deuteronomy 32, verse
divide.
8. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations, nation means nationality, divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam. He set the boundaries of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. His is a possessive pronoun. Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. So there was a separation even going on in Adam's time.
There is a separation. Now my ears are ringing. Now you're making sense. Because there is a
Okay.
separation. There is, dude. See, the thing is, the Bible is all secrets. If you know how to read it, you're pretty good at reading it.
Who are the secrets revealed to according to the Bible? When you say the Bible are secrets, who are the secrets revealed to?
Well, you're going to say, I'm going to guess the Israelites.
I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to read the Bible and see what it says. You mind if I do that?
I'm guessing it's going to say the Israelites.
Okay, just like you just said. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. So it says the secrets are revealed to the servants, the prophets. Who are the prophets according to the Bible?
72.
Where can I read about who the prophets are? Isn't that
70.
located in Ezekiel 38:17? What does it say in
I don't
Ezekiel
know.
38? Well, let's
That would
read
be
it. I
the.
mean, if you want to hide information from a nigga, you put it in a book. But this nigga know how to read now, so we finna get it in. So look, Ezekiel 38 verse 17 says this. It
Well
says,
said, bro. Well
it
fucking
says,
said.
it says, thus saith the Lord God, art he of whom I have spoken in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel? Israel. So you said the Bible has secrets. We went to the book, Amos 3 and verse 7. It says the secrets were revealed to the prophet.
Listen to what it says. The prophets of the servants, the prophets of Israel. Now back to what I said. If you
Go
take what
ahead.
I said, Israel is the Trinity, and that's the spirit part of within. That's anyone that's following God's law and spirit. That's not the fallens. It's the fallens and then us. It's kind of like that.
Okay,
You're
so
talking about
basically you're saying Israel is a spiritual seed. Everybody can be an Israelite. Anyone. As long as you believe and accept that Jesus
pretty
Christ
much
your Lord and Savior.
as a race and the people, as they're saying in this biblical terms, a lot of it are identifying it with the blacks because that's the story. That's the friggin' story, man. See, this is more
Okay.
futuristic story, like it's rewritten. But a lot of it. See, here's the thing, man. It was all rewritten after, and like Moses, a lot believe is one of the pharaohs was taught, and some believe that the story of Jesus is the story of Horus, and that Isis is Mary, and
Yeah, if
that
you study the Kemetic Egyptian term, they
Horus,
do believe in that.
Horus came. Horus is the incarnation of like a double spirit of Osiris, right? Osiris was killed by the 72 conspirators, the Fallens, and they cut him up in pieces when she found him, and she brought him back to life, but she couldn't find his penis. So she built they call it an obelisk, and that's like why a lot of the Vatican and the White
So
House
so so
have.
Spilly, are you well versed in Kemetic studies?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I kind of dipped into the Akashic records a bit there.
You mean the Emerald Tablets too? You well versed in that?
Yeah, I know the
So,
tablets. Yeah, before I read it.
so, so do you know who the Hyksos are?
No, who are they?
Well, if you study Anta Diop, he has a book called African Civilization, and page 58, he said the Hyksos were the Hebrews. If we study the word Hebrew, how can we identify who the Hebrews are? Here it is right here. So Hebo means Hebrew or Igbo. You ever seen a slave sign that said Negroes for sale? You ever seen a slave sign that said Negroes for sale?
And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slaves, 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 and
So he's reading from the Bible, Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
female
Yeah.
slaves. No man shall buy you. And that is what happened to the regal class of the house of Judah. I was just amazed, I got to tell you. I mean, when you come to America and you talk to people about slavery, you can talk to black people about slavery, white people about slavery, and they'll give you all this history on slavery, and it only goes back to the 16th and the 17th century. And you're like, don't they teach you the history of slavery? Why? Ask the bloody question. Why are they only teaching you the history of slavery as far back as the 16th and the 17th century? Why are they only going that far back? They don't want you to go farther back than that, because then you'll actually find out the truth. But from the 16th and 17th century, we'll teach you about slavery. You've got to go further back, and you've got to understand and question, why do they do this throughout the whole of America in all the public schools? Why do they only go back as far as the 16th and the 17th century to talk about slavery? We've got to go further back than that. Because Islam designed infernal slavery, and then the Ashkenazi Khazars, those who say they are Jews and are not, are the ones that marketed it, and the regal Negro nomads.
Keyword, he said the regal Negro nomads. Acts 13, verse 1 says nigger or Niger, which means king or the black man.
Exiled from the kingdom of Judah were the main recipients of it at the hands of the indigenous black Africans.
There's a difference between Egyptians and Israel. There's a difference between a native African and a Negro. We are two totally different people. When you study crematorial remains, our skulls is different. We act different. We dress different. Some Africans wear plates in their mouth and rings up to their neck. What Negro over here in America did you see with plates in their mouth and rings to the neck? You're not going to see it. So we are two totally different people. Let's finish this off.
Because you've got to understand, the regal class of the house of Judah came down from Israel, and they came into the land of the black Africans. And the black Africans resented the regal class of the house of Judah in
They was like, who the hell are you? You coming at all this music and all this beautiful meridian sound. You coming in with law, agriculture, farming, and cropping, which means civilization. We had our own civilization. We were just coming to build, to help people. But look what happened.
their land, because they had laws, they had customs, they had civility, and they were a regal class of Negro that came down into Africa. And later on, it was the Ashkenazi, the Islamic slave traders as well, that then worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal house of Judah.
Ashkenazis, aka whites, the Islam, Arabs, the native Africans, teamed up together to enslave, pillage the Negroid people, the Negroid Hispanics, the Negroid Native Americans, and the Negroid so-called African Americans. Let's finish this off.
This is what we've got to understand, but you've got to go back before the 16th century to understand the roots of it. So we're going to see, as we dig into this, where this slavery came from, because it was really a system that was very, very well.
System, social conditioning. So-called black people are the highest in every disease known to man. AIDS, glaucoma, PCOS, mental illnesses. We are the highest in every race known to man. Why is this?
There was Islamic masters, and there were white Ashkenazi
White, Ashkenazi, Khazars, Jewish people. Who runs the land? Jewish people. Now, now I'm gonna talk to you for real. We done with all that. What is my conclusion in saying all of this? What am I trying to say? This is all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to blame the white man. We did that for 400 years. I'm not blaming you no more, right? I'm trying to tell my people to blame the inner me. Once you defeat the inner me, then later on we could talk about the enemy. We all know who's the elephant in the room. We all know who's putting chemtrails in the air, fluoride in the food. We ain't doing it. But some of us are teaming up with the people that are doing it because of money, financial gain. Or you'll give me $500,000 if I show you where YizReal stay at and you'll kill that nigga? Give me that $500,000. I don't give a fuck about that nigga. The thing is this. When we defeat the enemy and learn about how to heal the body in the 7 organs or 7 chakras under your central nervous system, that's when you become master teacher. That's when you can say you healed somebody from a disease.
Master Teacher Yahuda has healed people from HIV, AIDS, coronavirus, stage 4 cancer, and a whole host of other diseases.
I healed a blind and I healed the sick. Moses split the sea. The sea stands for consciousness. On the left hemisphere of your brain and on the right hemisphere of your brain, you got masculine energy and feminine energy, right? You got a hypothalamus gland, you got a pituitary gland that produces zinc, copper, and gold. Your pineal gland produces serotonin and melatonin. This is your awakening your sleep patterns. Serotonin means to be serious. Melatonin means to be mellow. Emotions means energy and motion. E stands for energy, motion stands for movement. So this movement that I'm talking about is the circadian rhythm. Is the endocrine system is talking about the 7 chakras in your body. It's talking about the big 7, which means completion. So the reason why Kemet got so involved with the reptilian brain when you take apart the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere, because most of them worship body parts. If you read the Papyrus of Ani or the coffin text of the pyramid text of the papyrus, all these different books, Book of the Dead, Seth compilated in his mouth and he stuck his phatic symbol in Horus. The reason why Moses said, learn not the ways of the Egyptians, because they was getting into a lot of homosexual stuff, right? Egypt means Mitzrayim, which means bondage. Kemet means chemical, which means Tadameti, chemical. What are the people putting in on earth today to kill us? They're killing us with chemicals. Kemet means chemical. This is why Moses said, learn not the way of the Egyptians, go to that straight, narrow path. Because I don't want to be involved with chemicals no more. I don't want to be involved with all these chemicals is killing us. Because even Dr. Sebi said every disease is based off of mucus. But if you get into the clinical studies, every disease is based off of acid, acidosis. Parasites feed off of acid. Your meat is uric acid. Your fish is lead mercury, which affects the brain and it has uric acid in fish. Your milk is lactic acid, which robs your body from calcium and creates mucus in your throat, right? In your upper respiratory, causing asthma, bronchitis, etc. Your oatmeal is oxalic acid that wears the lining of your intestines and robs your body from calcium. Why do I keep saying calcium? Because iron and calcium is the main minerals for so-called black people. White people need zinc phosphate. Asians need calcium triphosphate. Each race needs a certain mineral to survive on this earth. I'm gonna take a quick pause. I know you want to say something, Philly. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You sure? You want? I don't want to. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No,
It's on you.
I hear you. Just put.
Okay, so I'll
Saying
bring
about
it
the
back then.
chemistry.
So what I'm trying to discuss is something called Hebraic cultural origins. Who are the Hebrews? Where did they come from? Are they real people? Do they exist? So Sound Lad and Spilly, do y'all kind of is it making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
shit, but you
No.
say
No.
like all of them different and shit. Yeah.
Hebrew civilization, dwarfed by the great empires of Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and Egyptians, were the Hebrews. Of all the ancient civilizations, it was the Hebrews who exerted perhaps the greatest influence on Western society as well as Western intellectual tradition. The Hebrews, a Shemitic speaking people, first appeared in Mesopotamia. Now, what is it saying?
Yeah, they
We
part of my
came
bloodline too.
Correct. We came with that sauce. We had our laws, our agriculture, and our farming and that cropping. Who you think built the White House? Slaves, Negro slaves. Who you think built the China Wall? Negro slaves. Anything you could think of, we invented that. Now let's talk about the light bulb. It was a man. Y'all know who the man is who claimed that he invented the light bulb. But imagine me being a slave and I'm creating something in my laboratory, right? You had every right as a so-called white man to say, "Hey, nigger, give me that project you're working on. Now get over there, go find something to do. I invented the light bulb." Y'all see what I'm saying? We couldn't say nothing, or else we would be right. So we got to think about who are the real inventors. Now, this is no offense, but when you study Caucasian history, only thing your people invented was something called the patent office. This was a warehouse to use to steal other people's inventions. So when you go to war, what is the military based off of? Drug money, oil, thievery of lands, and killing and bloodshed. Those five things. That's what the war is based off of. When you join the military, how many shots do they put inside of you? How many vaccines do they put inside of your bloodstream? Why are people coming out with PTSD, anger issues, being drunks? Most of the military people are homeless. Am I lying? Am I telling the truth?
True.
No, you wondering.
So if this is supposed to be the land of the free, I don't feel like I'm free. Still paying taxes. Um, I don't own my own land because who's the Lord
You
over
do?
my land? We have two individual different races in here, but we're actually having a conversation. And notice how nobody's yelling over each other. We're not arguing. I'm not saying my dick is bigger than yours or my religion is better than yours. We're just having a dialogue because it's a spiritual, intellectual conversation, right?
Yeah, because so like I think we came as one, I guess. I mean, ain't no
Okay.
guessing, bro.
So, Spilly, with this information that we're about to show you, do you feel that so-called black people need justice?
I don't think he heard you, Yah.
Spilly, do you feel like we need justice as so-called black people?
See, justice is a. What does justice mean? Justice means you want to, repayment. I don't know, man. I don't know if justice is the right
Yeah,
word.
yeah, claim the justice.
You mean like
If we keep,
reparations?
Shit,
Something
they
like
got
that?
the
well,
justice too. Maybe just gotta learn how to get that
the,
shit.
the world's changing, right? And everyone's starting to figure things out. We're communicating, and if we start, I don't know, for all the shit, because there's been wars won and wars lost, right? Over time, and people have been
Work for
displaced
theirs, they
all,
got it.
not, not just the blacks and the slavery. There's been people displaced all over the world in all kinds of situations, and I think there's all these lessons, and I don't know if we're all learning the lessons or not, but there's lessons to be learned, and I don't know. It's like I don't know. Then what do you do, bro? Like you got the natives, they want justice. The blacks want justice. The white man's in big shit, but there's a lot of justice. But there's all kinds of things that also that are covered up that aren't talked about, and it's more like the way I look at it is that you got to move more forward because the soul isn't always in the same vessel, the same colored vessel either.
Who are the most spiritual people on earth? Think about it. You into neurology, right, Spilly?
Mm.
When you look in the head of a sperm cell, what's inside of that head of a sperm cell? A microbe sperm cell. Can you tell me?
What's the what?
What is in the head of the microbe sperm cell? When you are you a man and you shoot that sperm off in a woman, when you open that head up with the tail, what is in the head of a sperm cell? A black dot, right? You ever notice that?
No.
That black dot is what you call melanin or carbon. The Negro race has more melanin than any race on the earth, even the native African. Because we have the biggest black dot inside of a sperm cell. That makes you the smartest, the most intelligent. We influence the world.
So once the world acknowledges the fact that we influence the world, The world must also acknowledge that at the end of the day,
You have to come back and bow down and bow down and bow down to the chosen people. This is not me telling you this. This is actually written in that book you call the Bible that has a whole bunch of prophecies in it that you agreed that Jesus Christ had hair like wool, feet like bronze, and he healed the blind and healed the sick. You say you're into neurology, you're into biochemistry. I heard you mention the Kundalini and the seven chakras. So if you're into higher vibrations, just know that these spiritual Negroes are the highest vibrational people on planet Earth.
from the house of healing, the most spiritual people on planet Earth, peace, love, light, and healing.